Hi folks, my name is Victoria and I'm here to begin a series of vlogs about a topic that is near and dear to me, autism. My husband and I have a son who's 8.5 years old who was diagnosed with pdd-nos, which is pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, and of course that is on the autistic spectrum. He is verbal. He does have sensory integration issues, as well as transitional issues, as well as a little bit of ADD, ADHD, OCD, ODD, Tourette, echolalia, speech delays, transitional, I already mentioned that, hypo or hypersensitive, sensitivity to with hearing or touch, sounds, sight as well, and smell. Those communication delays are still there, as well as behavioral issues, which ensue mostly due to communication issues and transitional issues. And all those different pieces, I believe, are pieces that are on the spectrum. So your child may exhibit one or more of these possible characteristics, because the list is almost endless. But no two children will ever be alike in that regard, and they're like snowflakes. So there really is no answer to all of our problems. All we do is look for possible techniques to desensitize, to help them, to teach them, and persevere, and adapt. Every day we have to adapt to new things. One of the things that my husband and I found invaluable was attending training sessions. I have attended over 100 training sessions over the past 4 years throughout the state on several topics, including IDEA, the laws, the changes of the laws, learning about all of the intricacies of the disorder of autism, and some of the possible techniques that assist with behavior, applied behavioral analysis. We've even gone to ABLES trainings, and I always say that if I walk away with at least one new thing that I've learned, then it was worth my time, especially my time away from my family. And I encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to empower yourself with knowledge, because you need to be your child's voice until your child gets a voice of their own, until you can teach your child to stand up for themselves as well, especially in the educational system. You want to be able to learn how to partner with your district, with your teachers, so that you're working together to help the child progress, because we all want our children to be productive members of society, and it's up to us to help them move in that direction. One of the things that I've learned out of these training sessions was when you're teaching your child something new, or trying to help desensitize them to certain issues, you want to be extremely patient and understand that introducing them to something new, or teaching them a new task, is not going to take place in a day or even a week, because the person with a genius IQ, on average, takes them about 12 to 18 times to learn something new, a new task, a new, just to learn a new behavior, where they would be able to teach it to someone else without needing to reference something. And that's someone with a genius IQ. Now, someone with an average IQ, like myself and yourself, it may take us 120 to 180 times to really learn something well enough that we could do it so well in our sleep, without needing to refer to anything, and so well, of course, to teach it back to someone. It may not take that many, but that tends to be the average. And then you have to take a child with a disability and look at how much time, how many repetitions it will take for them to learn something new. And the numbers are high. You're looking at 1,200 to 1,800 times. The example I'll give you as a parent is we had tried in July of 2007, and it's now July 2008, for us to teach our son how to shower on his own, to do the entire morning routine. And he hasn't even done it 400 times yet, so he's still learning. He still needs to be prompted. He still needs to be reminded of certain things, for us to make sure that the shampoo is well rinsed, and that all of the daily routine checklist is done. He still needs that assistance, and it's going to take us another 2 to 3 years for him to be able to get this down. And yes, it's a lot of work and time and effort and energy, but it's worth it. He needs that extra attention. You know, we take for granted the way we grew up, where our parents tell us to do something and we did it. Oh, go tie your shoe, or go put your dishes in the sink. We really need to be more specific with children on the spectrum. They just don't get things sometimes, and it's our job to help them get that. With regards to desensitizing, you know, a lot of kids on the spectrum tend to have unfounded fears. The examples are that, you know, our son is fearful of flies, flying insects, and but not too fearful of running in the street when there's a truck running down the road. So, you know, you would think that they would say, "Oh, truck, I'm going to run away." However, that's a little off for our kids sometimes. But anyway, you know, one of the things that he is fearful of, again, an unfounded fear, is buttons, our buttons rather. He does not like to wear buttons, he doesn't want them on his clothing, and he doesn't want to be around them. So much so that if the child next to him in class, or someone next to him is wearing buttons, perhaps on a sleeve, at the edge of the sleeve, and the child is in the desk next to him, he won't focus on his work, he won't pay attention to the teacher, because in his mind, he's worried about that button coming over onto his side of the desk and touching him. It's just a button. We don't understand why he doesn't like them, but he just doesn't like them. But we as parents realize that the world around us is not going to keep buttons away from him. People wear buttons every day. And, you know, we can't ask the world to hide the buttons when we need buttons. So it's our job to help desensitize him. And it's a tough job. You know, we work on having him wear a button-down or, you know, a 2-button shirt to school one day a week for 2 months, and then we moved it the next 2 months to 2 days a week, and then, you know, the following 2 months to 3 days a week, until he starts to become desensitized. And it's still difficult for him. He still walks around holding his shirt away from his body, unless he's preoccupied with something else and he forgets that the buttons are there. But most of the time, he insists on wearing the shirt under it so that it's not touching his body. He just doesn't like that. It's a very major sensory issue for him. I don't have that sensory issue, so I can't say. However, if you put me in a room with spiders and shut the lights off, I'd be freaking out. So who knows if that's how he feels about buttons. Very well could be. But at any rate, the point of my story is that I want you all to realize that when we're trying to deal with our child's fears, or we're trying to teach them something new, it's going to take more than one try. It's going to take more than a week's worth of tries. And don't give up. And try to modify often to see if there's a new way to introduce it, or use a different word, or be mindful of the surroundings when you're trying to teach your child something new. Our children tend to be very overstimulated visually and audially, and if you're trying to teach your child something new, and when the television's on, of course, they're not going to pay attention. Or if there's background music. I find that my son cannot sit and focus on an art project, which he loves to draw, and spend time doing that. But if there's background music or talking, he can't focus. So, you know, it's almost as though the ears have to turn off while the eyes are working. And we notice that is the same in class for him. You know, one of those senses has to take a back burner, while another one takes the front burner. And the more mindful you are of the way our children work, the intricacies of the spectrum of autism, and the more techniques you learn on how to deal with your child, the more progress your child may make. And don't give up on them. Just love them, and if you have an interest in a certain topic or questions, one of my next vlogs rather, is going to be about discipline. Autism and discipline. It makes you laugh, because what a concept. Our kids can barely get concepts of the sunrise and sunset. How are they going to get a concept of discipline? But my husband and I have worked on a few techniques that tend to work for our child, although we constantly need to modify. But that will be one of my next vlogs, so hopefully you'll tune in. Hopefully you'll find this helpful. If you have any questions, as I said, just post them. I'll be happy to respond. That's all for now. Thank you for your time, for your attention, and have a great day. and smile.